welcome Rosemary Bird from Vancouver and Lou Malfisi from Coquitlam to talk to you about the provincial perspective and challenges in education.
Thank you. Some of what you're going to hear from us right now has already been mentioned or will be maybe things that you already know. But in a way, that's sometimes the experience that our kids have, so get used to it. I have a slide up here right now that comes from some research. It's a PowerPoint whole presentation talking about gifted education to have that you can share easily with other teachers. And so this is particularly from Kirsty Neumeister and Virginia Harvey, but it is based on some of the work by Sally Rays. And this particular slide, really, I don't want this to, it just helps us to frame why gifted education is important. So, if you can imagine having 180 days of school, which is about what our kids have, if you already know half of the curriculum from that year, you're wasting half the year. If then you're someone who learns quickly and you only need 1 or 2 repetitions to get material, then maybe other kids need 6 or 8 repetitions. You're wasting 3/4 of your time. And when in my role, I speak a lot to teachers across our district for whom gifted education might not be their major concern. They might be more worried about kids who are on the other end of the spectrum, more worried about the kids that they see falling through the cracks. But when I share this slide with them, showing them that a gifted kid might only be getting 25 days of new learning out of the course of the year, that makes them sit up and take notice. That makes them understand why it matters. So not to be I know we're trying to be positive, but in terms of being positive, the fact is this actually helps to frame the conversation that your child deserves to have more learning experiences in school that are actually challenging for them, new experiences and challenging experiences.
Yes, I'm always saying to the parents, ask your teacher, you just want your child to be learning new things every day. That's all you want, just like any other parent. And that may be different for your child at a given moment. So if you frame it like that, that's also a very positive way of trying to make a difference in what is happening for them in the classroom.
So what we're going to walk you through right now is some information from the National Association for Gifted Children. This is an organization in the United States. Some of the statistics that are being quoted are really based on American research and American experience. Some of those things resonate with us, some of them maybe not so much, but we'll walk through that together. And if you're interested, you'll be able to find this. You can go online. If you just even Google that, NAGC, National Association for Gifted Children, there's great information there for you as parents. And so, very quickly, 10 myths, common myths about gifted education.
You want to start?
Sure. First of all, gifted students don't need help. They'll do fine on their own. How many people would say to an Olympic athlete, you don't need any help, you're a fast runner? What we know is people benefit from coaching. They benefit from somebody who understands what they're doing and can coach them to take them to the next level. And that's what our gifted kids need.
That students can't be gifted, he's receiving poor grades. Some of our gifted kids get very frustrated or bored in class. They disengage with the learning experience because it doesn't matter to them, or I've done this already. And so their grades reflect the work that the hard work they should be doing on the projects or work that expected them. That doesn't mean they can't do the work. It means they may not be engaging in the learning.
Myth number 3, that teachers challenge all the students, so gifted kids will be fine in the regular classroom. And what we actually do know is The statistic from the States is that when they did a survey, only 61% of teachers were actually cognizant, actually knew about good practices for gifted education. Only 60% of them felt confident in being able to identify a gifted child in their classroom. All I can speak to from our perspective in BC is that if you were to look at in our education programs when we're training as teachers, our gifted education portion of our program often comes down to one lecture in a course on exceptionalities. So it's oftentimes for a general education teacher, they do not get a huge amount of direct exposure around working with gifted children.
Gifted students are happy, popular, and well-adjusted in school. Some of our students are globally gifted and they fit well in any environment you put them in. But they come home and then they let loose, or they go into the computer and they start digging into the learning that they've missed out of during the day. They become who they are at home. So yes, they can be the nicest people and teachers can love them because they get everything done, but just a conversation with a student I had who was an exceptional student. He said, I spent most of my high school waiting, but he was really, really, really well liked by parents, students, the whole community.
Okay. Gifted students make everyone else in the class smarter by providing a role model or a challenge. And in fact, we often hear that in terms of talking about gifted programs, that you don't want to lose all the smart kids from a program because they need to be there for the rest of the kids. The fact of the matter is that we know that our gifted students need a positive role model as much as anybody else. And that oftentimes they might not actually have the patience with kids their own age who aren't working at their level or with their same capacity. So they need the opportunity to be with kids who work at the same level that they do.
This child can't be gifted, he has a disability. In fact, I work with kids who are twice exceptional on a daily basis, all different disabilities. They can be twice exceptional, and it makes it more challenging because they're a more complex child, but they definitely have those higher abilities. So teachers that say that, or say they have to deal with the other exceptionality more than the gifted, that you need to do both, because that's who that child is.
Many people will tell you when you're talking about your gifted child that all children are gifted. All children are wonderful at times. All children have strengths. All children have unique attributes. But not every child has the capacity for working quickly through problems. Not every child has the same capacity at the same age for thinking deeply about different subjects or different issues. So we really need to be able to honor the fact that a gifted student, we aren't saying that they are more valuable than any other child. We're simply saying that they have particular strengths, learning strengths that need to be met.
Needs.
Needs.
Yep. Our district has a gifted and talented program. We have AP courses. For those of us that don't know what AP, it's advanced placement. Advanced placement courses can only be offered to grade 11 and 12s. So even if your grade 8 student is ready to do those advanced placements or college level learning, they don't have access because generally AP are for grade 12.
Question, is that just in the Lower Mainland, or is because
No, advanced placement is set by the colleges down in the United States. So it's across the states, and you have to qualify to do them. But the point is, AP courses definitely are a rigorous course of study. Not all gifted students want to do that kind of study. Most schools offer 1 or 2 AP courses. It may not even touch in the talented area that your child or your neighbor's child has.
Another myth, that acceleration placement options are socially harmful for gifted students. I don't think I need to speak too much more because both Lanny and I think Marian touched on that. Gifted kids need to be with other kids who are their intellectual peers. Doesn't need to be all the time, but they do need those opportunities to be together with other kids who get it.
Gifted education requires an abundance of resources. Not so much. Go to the child, ask them what they want to learn, and then figure it out together. It doesn't, you don't have to have a pile of textbooks to teach differently.
And lastly, a common myth is that gifted education programs are elitist. And in fact, I think you would find that across our districts, we do a really good job of making sure that we are making our programs as accessible as possible to the widest range of kids. In the Lower Mainland, we have a very diverse population, and all our school districts, I think, are really aware of that. So gifted ed programs, the other charge that they will have is that they're elitist because you're taking all the best students out to put them into a full-time, a segregated program. But again, if what you are really doing is trying to meet the needs of those learners who are coming from a wide range of backgrounds, then I can't think you can actually make the claim that that's elitist.
We're supposed to talk faster.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
this is from a PowerPoint presentation, and I wasn't able to download it, so what I did is I took a picture of it, which is why you have to tell us. And for some reason, it's now my background. I have no idea how, but it is. So BC CASE is a conference or a group of educators that come together. CASE is the Council
For Administrators of Special Education.
Thank you. So it's the Council for Administrators of Special Education, but the ministry always comes and speaks and shares updates, changes, and questions. So last summer, the ministry person that was standing talking to us, he just put the sign up, showed it to all the administrators that deal with special ed and say, I'm not going to say anything. I just want you to look at it and go back and ask questions. Okay? That's all that was said to us. So,
For the people in the back
So-
of the room,
Yeah.
we want to tell
Oh,
them what it is.
so-
What's the legend?
this side is the number of identified kids. This is the timeline from 2001 to 2012. In this time period, previous to this, there was targeted funding for gifted education. You'll recall there's now what we call high incidence, so other special needs like LD, moderate behavior, moderate intellectual disabilities, gifted, all high incidence. They no longer have targeted funding for those, and they go into the block funding or per student. So districts get to choose how they service their special need kids in high ability, how much money they're going to set aside. So in order to provide programs, you have to have identified kids. Okay?
Says it all.
We're done.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we're done.